Bank.
We know what matters.
Because of the following Channel 2 sports special, MASH will not be seen tonight. Now stay tuned for the home team next on KGAN.
Welcome to our special, The Home Team. Tom Davis flat out says he's never had three players who've meant so much to a basketball program. In their nearly 4 years at Iowa, NJ Armstrong, Roy Marble, and Ed Horton have been the primary reasons in Iowa posting a 95-33 one-loss record thus far. It's been the most successful period in Hawkeye basketball history. While Tom Davis has been a part of the Armstrong, Marble, and Horton era for 3 years, he says the winning tradition for this Iowa trifecta was set in motion in the players' hometowns, in the Detroit and Flint, Michigans, and Springfield, Illinois, where the support was always there.
I think that's how you start to develop the will, the desire to become a great competitor, a great athlete, great at whatever it is you do. A lot of that starts to generate itself very early in life, much earlier than I'm sure we imagine. 3, 4, 5 years old probably. Some of that starts to develop, and parents have a lot to do with it, and junior high coaches and teachers and playground leaders and people like that are so much more important to their development than what we can ever give them credit for. And I'm sure that's true in the case of these three guys.
Over the next half hour, we'll meet the folks behind the scenes that helped mold BJ, Roy, and Ed into the athletes and gentlemen that we know them as today.
Hi, I'm NJ Armstrong. Believe it or not, in high school, they actually called me the pudgy guard. That and more coming up on the home team.
Ma'am, so what do you think of Wendy's new chicken parmesan sandwich?
Autentico, la mia ricetta.
Mama says it tastes like hers, too much like hers.
Chi ha rubato la mia ricetta?
No, Mama, nobody stole your recipe.
No, è mia sorella Antonetta.
I wasn't your sister Antonetta.
Try Wendy's delicious new chicken parmesan sandwich. A whole chicken breast fillet, real mozzarella, and a rich tomato sauce. It's at Wendy's now, but only for a limited time.
She didn't sell your recipe to nobody, Mama.
Wendy's new chicken parmesan sandwich.
If you're going to play with fire, come to where the prices are hot. Big Sur waterbeds.
Heat up your bedroom with hot European-style lacquer. The Hialeah bed is $289.99. Or choose this contemporary group, also available in white lacquer.
Put a little fire in your life.
Big Sur waterbeds, across from the Lindale Mall in Cedar Rapids.
Don't let another unbearably hot summer become your worst nightmare. See your Lennox dealer about a new Lennox air conditioning and heating system and get up to $400 cash back.
Row Heating and Air Conditioning, planned and 24-hour emergency service for over 76 years. Call us.
Your quality Lennox dealer. For your Lennox heating and cooling needs, hand it to a pro, like Frank.
At Shaw Plumbing and Heating in Independence.
Lennox, quality proven over time.
Panasonic Video. All on sale. 3 days only at Best Buy. Panasonic televisions and VCRs. Panasonic camcorders. All on sale. All on sale. Thursday through Saturday, Best Buy's 3-day video sale. Top name brands on sale at Best Buy.
We tip off our look behind the scenes in Detroit, Michigan with BJ Armstrong. Growing up, the two individuals with the biggest influence on BJ were without a doubt his father and mother. Sitting courtside at Carver Hawkeye, their youthful looks make them more suitable to be his older brother and sister. Instead, they're BJ's father and mother, Benjamin and Barbara Armstrong of Detroit, Michigan.
I feel more like big brother, little brother type relationship. We communicate well. He come to me just about for any problem that he have. We can sit down and we can talk, we can laugh.
BJ's athletic influence comes from his father. Ben was an all-state high school basketball player in Detroit and ironically was recruited by the University of Iowa until the elder Armstrong hurt his knees. Barbara, on the other hand, says she never was athletically inclined.
I didn't really become involved in sports until after I met Ben. And of course, when BJ came along, you know, they called me an athletic supporter.
Born Benjamin Jr. in September of 1967, the Armstrongs quickly called their only child BJ. And at an early age, BJ's interests were already focused on the round ball.
The basketball hoop at 14088 Clover Lawn in Detroit. While the Armstrongs no longer live here, the basket remains as sort of a monument because it was right here where BJ first developed his game, going to one-on-one with his father.
Every day before I could even really get home or get out the car, he was ready to go. So I would have my gym shoes in the car and we would play before I even go in the house majority of the time because he would be sitting there waiting to play. His goal was to really beat me. That was his goal, but I never would let him beat me.
He said nobody is ever going to let him win. He said he's going to have to work for it, and until he learns how to play, you know, and win, said I'm not going to let him win.
BJ would eventually beat his dad one-on-one and carry that work-hard, winning attitude onto his high school team at Brother Rice, a Catholic high school in the Detroit suburb of Birmingham, Michigan.
I've always said that the thing probably that BJ does best, I think there are two things. I think number one, he wins. And I'm not sure that you can teach that to somebody, but BJ wins. And I think the second thing that he's always done is he makes the players who are playing with him play better. He brings out the best in people.
Nick Connie calls BJ a better person than he is a player. That's quite a statement since we all know how fine an athlete BJ is. Continuing our look at BJ in his younger years, we meet the people who helped mold BJ at his high school in suburban Detroit. The slender BJ Armstrong that Hawkeye fans know today was not always that way. In his freshman and sophomore years of high school, BJ was known as the pudgy guard at Brother Rice.
We used to tease him. We used to say that he had a Twinkie tumor around his waist. But in spite of being short and pudgy as a ninth grader, you could tell that basketball skill-wise he was very special.
Here on the court at Brother Rice, BJ began to turn heads even in his sophomore year. As a three-year starter for the Warriors, by the time BJ was a senior, he was all everything. All-state, all-city, all-league, and all-around great player.
Here we go, BJ puts it up and in! At the buzzer, BJ Armstrong, 2 more points.
He always kind of had another gear that he could shift to, and it was kind of a unique quality.
In his 4 years at Brother Rice, BJ rewrote the school's record book, setting 17 new marks, including the most points in a game at 51. But BJ is remembered around the school for more than just his basketball. Jim Rademacher was BJ's geometry and homeroom teacher.
What I remember most is sort of the infectious smile that he had. And I think he enjoyed everything he did, not just math.
A good student, not a great student or anything like that, but he was serious about them. He wanted to learn something.
Brother Kelly also had BJ for several math classes, and the former parish basketball coach in Detroit and New York City always believed BJ would do well in basketball.
He's the best high school ball player I ever saw.
As BJ winds up his collegiate career and looks towards the pros, Nick Connie says there's no doubt in his mind that his former star pupil will succeed in the NBA. Connie says BJ has proven all the critics wrong twice before. First when they said the little pudgy kid couldn't play in high school, and then certainly that he wasn't major college material.
They don't know what I know, that they don't understand that this is somebody special, and if he's got a deficiency, he'll find a way to either make up for it or improve.
I hope someday he do play in the NBA. But I wouldn't be disappointed because I think that BJ is prepared for more than just the NBA. So that he, as a young man, will not just go somewhere in a shell and just fold up and forget about that other things that's valuable to him in life.
Hi, I'm Roy Marble. Coming up, the recruiting game and how I settled on the Hawkeyes. Next on the home team.
It was the Hawks' first victory of 1989 when they traveled to East Lansing. Now the Spartans face the black and gold in Carver Hawkeye Arena. Don't miss the action as Iowa hosts Michigan State tonight at 7 on KGAN, home of the Hawks.
He's Iowa's all-time scoring and steal leader, Roy Marble. For most Iowa fans, it seems like Roy has been a Hawkeye all his life. Let's turn back the clock now and venture to Roy's hometown of Flint, Michigan, to discover how Roy bounced into a Hawkeye uniform.
You could see the potential I could when Roy came, even in the elementary program. He was just heads and shoulders above some other kids.
When Roy was in the 7th and 8th grade, when we played the little junior high school games, I mean, everyone knew that he was destined, for greatness.
Flint, Michigan, population 154,000. Its #1 resource, the automotive industry. For Roy Marble, his ticket out of town wouldn't be a car, but rather a basketball.
Rather than watch a basketball game on TV. So that's where I'm wondering, how did he get those moves that saying look like Michael Jordan, because he never watched it.
Got him from you, Roy, is that right?
I don't know. It was just in him, I guess.
Regardless of where the moves came from, Roy's talents on the hardwood began to draw national attention. A high school All-American in both his junior and senior years, all the top basketball colleges in the land were interested in the 6'6" phenom from Beecher High.
At first, it was beautiful. It's fun, because we've never been through that before. We really liked it. People's after you. You're important. But we didn't realize it was going to be that many people that was after him. And then we just got to a place where we had just got tired. I said, hey, you're going to have to make up your mind,
Ultimately, George Raveling in Iowa won out. Harold Ford, Roy's American history teacher at Beecher High, recalls visiting with Roy about the clinching force in his selecting the Hawkeyes.
He had visited the campus, and Coach Raveling was taking him back to the airport, and Raveling put a tape in the tape deck in the car. And what was on that tape was an Iowa basketball game with the crowd noise, the announcers, and everything that you might expect to hear in a basketball game. But there was one thing that Roy didn't expect to hear, and that was his own name. He was playing in the game, and he scored the winning basket for Iowa.
And with that, Roy cast his lot with the Hawkeyes and cleared the way for him to concentrate on the task at hand, which was to win the state championship. And behind Roy's 26-point average, Beecher cruised to a perfect 27-0 record and the Michigan Class B title.
And that year, I think those kids with Roy leadership decided that they were not going to be denied a state championship. And he sort of put the team on his back, coaching staff, and said, let's go.
As I found out firsthand, when Roy Marble's name is mentioned around Beecher High, people's eyes light up. The folks at Beecher are proud to know Roy. And at the recent Iowa-Minnesota game in Iowa City, they demonstrated their fondness in person. There they were, courtside, in the second and third rows, and scattered throughout Carver Hawkeye Arena. Relatives, former teachers, friends, and just plain fans. 47 in all, they'd made the 500-mile trek from Flint, Michigan to Iowa City to see their favorite son play basketball, Roy Marble.
I think what has prompted individuals to want to follow Roy as much as we do, it's not just because of the basketball. It's because of Roy, Roy the person.
Here at Beecher High, Roy Marble is remembered for his basketball days. The jersey he wore on this court, number 21, has been retired. But for the instructors and administrators that knew Roy, they remember him more for his actions off the court. Les Taylor was Roy's academic counselor from the 7th grade through high school.
It was just a very enjoyable experience. Roy has so much charisma to him that every time he would come into the guidance office, it would just light up the place.
If I have a daughter and she were going to marry Roy Marble, I would be happy about that. That's the kind of young man he was, and I think that he probably still is today, even though I haven't seen him for some 4 years.
Last month, when Roy became Iowa's all-time leading scorer, the Hawkeye senior was presented a beautiful trophy honoring the feat. Less than a week later, the trophy was at Beecher High. At Roy's request, where everyone who was responsible for his success could see it firsthand.
He was exuberant about that and made sure that the trophy was back here, you know, so that we could share in the moment.
While Roy has earned a place among the best to ever wear an Iowa uniform and is adored by Hawkeye fans young and old, he remains the same genuine person Roy Sr. and Bertie Marble brought into the world 22 years ago.
And I'm very proud. I just really can't say how proud I am. Just hard to express myself how proud I am. But I'm real proud of him.
I really don't think of him as a hero. It's just something that he could do. I just can't imagine him being a hero. The things that he does, it don't amaze me. It's just something I believe that he could do all alone, you know. It doesn't surprise me of what he could do or what he could be or how far he could go.
Hi, I'm Eddie Horton, yet to come on the home team. How and why they called me the pencil back home in Springfield.
Welcome back to our special. Springfield, Illinois, the hometown of Abraham Lincoln and Eddie Horton. As I quickly found out, like Honest Abe, Eddie Horton also had a nickname that all the Springfieldites called him.
Here's the steal by Eddie. Change of pace, dribble, and a slam. Basketball, this is Horton. Boom!
Ed Horton back then was quite a contrast physically from the one Iowa basketball fans know today. Growing up in Springfield, Illinois, Eddie was always tall but extremely thin. Thus, he was dubbed the Pencil because of his pencil-like build. Lawrence Thomas is one of Eddie's closest personal friends in Springfield.
I can't understand it when we go to the game and you hear people saying, Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. And I'm like looking around and I'm like, especially if I'm on the front row or something, I'm like, Pencil. You know, like, who's Eddie? You know, I never knew no Eddie. I know, you know, we don't call him Eddie here.
The nickname of Pencil actually came from Ed's mother, Dorothy, who slapped the name on her son soon after birth.
Well, he was my smallest kid when he was born. He weighed like 6'15", and he was real small. And oh, it was in the winter time, and he wanted a ball, and he couldn't give me time to get it fixed. So I told him to shut up with his little pencil-looking self, and that's how he got the name Pencil.
Like all young boys, Eddie played all the sports. Early on, baseball caught his eye until he suffered an injury on the diamond.
First, he started out with baseball until he broke his leg. Then he gave it up.
What happened there? Was it sliding or how?
Sliding to second base, and he broke his leg.
After that, basketball was Eddie's life, and his best buddy was Kevin Gamble. The two would team together at Springfield Lanphier and later for 2 seasons at Iowa.
As long as I can remember, you know, we've always played basketball together on the courts in Springfield, and we were taller than everybody else too, and we was always better than most of the guys our age, so we had to play with most of the older guys.
In the summertime, this was Eddie Horton's home away from home. The basketball court at Comer Cox Park here in the heart of Springfield. You can just imagine Eddie and Kevin Gamble ringing up the buckets.
It'd be interesting if you could check back to see how many hours he had on the blacktop before he got to high school, but I would say for the average kid that played at Lanphier, he probably had 5 or 6 hours for every 1 hour that they had. He was playing all the time.
It was kind of tough for us to get games at the beginning of our young careers, but as time went on, they realized we were good enough to play with them.
People found out who Kevin Gamble and Eddie Horton were?
Yeah, they did. You know, then we went on to Lanphier High School and did pretty good there too. So I think we have our respect now.
Eddie and Kevin certainly have their respect now. And while Kevin has made it to the NBA with the Boston Celtics, the folks in Springfield believe their other favorite son is also destined for the pros. If there's one thing that has stuck with Ed Horton from his high school days at Springfield Lanphier, it's his ferocious attitude on the court. His prep coach, Bob Nika, says there was never a problem getting Ed or his younger brother, William, to go all out.
They just played as hard in practice as they did in the games. And I guess that's why he's such a successful player right now, is because he just won't, there's no half speed for him.
William Horton is 2 years younger than Ed. The two brothers teamed up together in Ed's senior season at Lanphier.
And Horton dances in the middle, gives it off to his brother William for 2. That's all in the family.
Growing up, William says Eddie dreamed of playing in the pros.
That's all they talked about, wanting to be in the NBA. We'd be laying in bed at night,
how he want to block Magic, go up against Kareem and stuff. Yeah, I tell him, you better work hard if you want to make it.
Eddie's 4-year career here at Lanphier was full of highlights. In his sophomore season, Eddie and Kevin Gamble led the Lions to the 2A state championship. And by the time his senior season was finished, Eddie had become Lanphier's all-time leading scorer. Following his senior season, Ed was selected as the state of Illinois' Mr. Basketball, and it appeared he would stay in his native state and play his college ball at Illinois. But in recruiting Eddie, the Illini's Lou Henson mentioned redshirting Ed in his freshman year.
I think they made a mistake when they said they were going to redshirt him. They should have waited till he got there. But, you know, then we decided on Iowa. You know, Iowa was recruiting us. They're the next school. They sent us lots of fan mail, and we said, let's do it.
Through Ed's years at Iowa, his biggest supporter has been Lawrence Thomas. Lawrence befriended Ed and Kevin Gamble when the two players were at the boys' club in Springfield, where Lawrence was a volunteer.
I'm like a sponge for Eddie. I'm his biggest booster. By the same token, I'm his biggest critic. You know, I'll get on him. I'll get on him bad. I mean, like, let up, Lawrence, let up, Lawrence. but I'm also his biggest booster.
When Lawrence can't be at the games in person, he watches them from his home in Springfield by satellite TV. Thomas says Iowa fans this season are seeing the real Eddie Horton.
For 3 years, believe it or not, I've been on his case. You didn't get no boards, Eddie. You didn't get no rebounds. Well, this year, I'm like, you got your 15. You got your 19. Way to go, way to go.
The ferocious Eddie on the boards,
that's what left Springfield.
Lawrence, along with brother William, both believe there is no doubt Eddie's ferocious style will have him in the NBA this time next year.
All I'll tell them is the only way you're going to make it somewhere in college, you're going to have to get rebounds to play. NBA is not looking for shooters these days. They're looking for somebody who can rebound. And I want you to average like 15, 20 boards a game. That'll get us to the NBA. Yeah.
The NBA is on the minds of these three talented Hawkeyes. Tom Davis believes it's a realistic goal for each one of them, that their future is extremely bright.
They're all playing the best basketball of their lives right now. That they're not, sometimes with college seniors, you say, well, they were better as sophomores than they were as seniors and so on. That's not true with these three. These three are all at they play in their best right now, but I think they can play even better. I think as they develop and grow mentally and emotionally, they're going to really, I hope we see nice NBA careers from all three of them.
Tom, I know you don't want to think about it, but after this season, those three seniors are gone.
I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to enjoy it while we have them, enjoy being with them, help them become the best they can be, and then we'll worry about tomorrow later on.
Hopefully the moments will add up to 10 more games, the 4 regular season clashes yet to be played, plus 6 tournament games that would lead the Hawkeyes to a national championship. It would be a most fitting conclusion to the brilliant Iowa careers of B.J. Armstrong, Roy Marble, and Ed Horton.